Let's make it count.
I must practice tolerance.
GSL 시즌 1 Regeneration Mountain Dew GSL 시즌 1 Regeneration
Don't you worry, baby. No such trying to change it. I must drive these men.
2019 마운틴
What's up, everybody? We're back here at the GSL Code S. This is day number 2, and we have some awards to give out to start things off.
Oh, Gary and Tasteless have the same voice.
I know.
That's so weird. Yes, indeed, we do. The Nestea Award. We have 2 players that are going to receive that. First up, though, this week's schedule, tonight, tomorrow night, and the next morning.
Yes.
Non-stop GSL action. After that, guess what? ASL. After that, guess what? Well, they're going to let Tasteless and I rest today, just like God after creating the universe. But then back to it.
Yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday.
And Wednesday, Thursday.
Right. We're going to have a handful of 1-day or 2-day breaks, but we're pretty much going to be casting every day out here. We are a little bit behind schedule, so we're sort of crunched for time. Anyways, we're going to give these awards out and get them translated here by John, the translator guy, special guest appearance. Who?
Well, is he?
Is he?
I guess I'm going to translate.
Maybe we don't actually translate.
You
this
two
out.
win the awards.
The Nestea Awards.
네, 자 이렇게 인재적
It looks like they're going to have an interview, so
의미는 참 3년
no,
넘게
I guess
본선
not.
무대에 계속해서
They're just holding microphones because they look cool.
먼저 소감부터 간단하게
But yes, the Nestea Award. This is for
김동호
10
선수,
consecutive seasons in
인재적 소감
GSL.
어떠신가요?
Kind of cool to
우선 제가
get that
이렇게
from Classic here.
And
Classic right now, talking about how John the Translator is his favorite
신기하고,
translator, and you would like for him to
그래도
translate
대회에서
this.
좀
All right, now we're going to have this translated by John. Good to have you back, John. Take it away.
하는데, 이렇게 상을 받게 된 거 보면 GSL에서만큼은 좀 꾸준하게 했구나라는 생각에 굉장히 뿌듯하고 앞으로도 좀 좋은 모습 많이 보여드릴 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
Okay.
네.
감사합니다.
I'm sorry, I just missed that.
기복이
But
있으셨다고
basically
하셨는데
said
작년에
it's a great honor to be able to
또
be
슈퍼 토너먼트
represented at
우승까지
GSL
정말 좋은
every
모습
season.
보여주셨습니다. 올해 목표 어떻게 생각하고 계세요? 블리즈컨 우승 생각하고 계신가요?
So are you thinking about winning the BlizzCon?
블리츠컨까지는 안 바라보고요. GSL 우승을
I'm not looking that far,
안 해본 지 오래됐거든요.
and it's been a long time since I won GSL, so I think that's my initial goal.
자, 또 한 명의 주인공 황강호 선수 또
we have
수상 소감
another
들어보도록 하겠습니다.
winner of the
인재덕상
prize
어떠신가요?
award, Losira.
그 최고의 선수셨던 임재덕 선수의 이름이 새겨진 이 상을 예전부터 꼭 한번
So I've always wanted to
정복해보고
win this award,
싶었었는데
which is named after one of the
이렇게 수상의
greatest player
기쁨을
of all
누릴 수
time,
있게 되어 영광으로 생각합니다.
Nestea.
Nestea.
네. 설 연휴에도 이 GSL 준비를 위해서 연습에 매진하셨을 것 같습니다.
So I'm
오늘
sure
비조
you
각오
must
들어볼
have
수 있을까요?
practiced even during the holidays.
좋은
was Chinese New Year
경기력은
recently.
장담하지 못하겠는데 최선은 다해 보겠습니다.
So I wasn't able to practice as much
최선을
as I wanted, but
다하겠습니다. 이렇게 이야기해
nevertheless I'm going to
주셨는데요.
do my best.
다시 한번 임재덕상 수상자 김도우 황강호 선수에게 뜨거운 박수 부탁드립니다.
All right, thank you much, Sean.
Thanks, John.
And of course, really cool to have numbers 9 and 10 for Nestea Awards.
좋은 출발을 하는 두 선수를 만나봤는데요.
well,
두 선수의
This is cool to be back here. Anyways, guys, we got a ton of GSL and ASL throughout the month of February, so you'll pretty much be able to be with us every day. I guess we'll give you 1 or 2 days off here, just like we're going to have, but it's going to be crazy. We started StarCraft 2 a little bit late this year. Normally we start in the first month of the year. Here we are now starting in February, so we got a lot of StarCraft 2 to get through before we get to BlizzCon 2019.
That's right. It's Tasteless and I have seen the whole schedule for the year. I know many of you ask us all the time what that might be.
We can't
and
always
why
tell
we
you
won't
guys.
Tell you.
We won't tell you. We're not allowed to.
If you just add up the number of days that GSL tournaments are, it kind of just barely fits in between now and BlizzCon. So
it's this might be the most compact our schedule's ever been, I think, between all the StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2 that we're doing here. So I'm excited. I'm glad to be back casting StarCraft 2. We did our first StarCraft 2 day about, 3 or 4 days ago, right before Lunar New Year struck here. Yeah, the 2nd of the month. And it's good. It's good to finally be back. I think this was the longest period of time we ever went without casting StarCraft 2 since BlizzCon.
Yeah, it was. Feels like it, at least.
Guys, we're sponsored by Mountain Dew. How cool is that? Have you noticed these kind of highlighter colors we have going on? A little bit of extreme yellow-green.
Yeah.
Is it yellow? Is it green? What do you see it as, Artosis?
Yellow-green.
That was the correct answer.
Yeah.
Do send your love to Mountain Dew. I don't know what their Twitter account is. Probably something at Mountain Dew. But let them know. Thank you for supporting StarCraft 2 and supporting GSL. It's really cool to have a sponsor like this. We've been sponsored by other beverages in the past, but this is certainly a more global beverage, which is very exciting for all of us down here.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be an excellent season, no doubt. A lot of really crazy stacked groups. Of course, the 2 Nestea award winners here. Definitely very experienced pros. Look at that 10th consecutive CODES out of 13.
Wowzers.
It has been a long time since Classic has been the victor, but last year, I think for a big chunk of the year, he was the best Protoss in the world. Stats took over in the later half, but definitely a contender in every tournament he's in. And of course, we have True from Psystorm Gaming up against Classic, and True has been a little bit up and down. I think right at the time that he decided to switch over onto the WCS circuit, he was starting to really find his form here in GSL, but unfortunately had to drop out for a while. He comes back, and I mean, he puts up good games here and there, but we haven't seen... It hasn't been like...
I feel like his big splash was in Montreal a couple years back.
Yeah, right around there. Like,
yeah, he was murdering through that entire bracket, but...
and don't forget, he had that sick victory over Zest in a GSL CODES like right before that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, yeah. I almost forgot about that, actually.
And like he's definitely had some very good results here and there. And yeah, that Montreal was pretty sick.
Have you noticed how he's wearing his headsets? Cord's like behind his head.
Yeah, I see that.
Huh. Nobody else does that, by the way.
No, I've never seen that.
I've never seen that. I wonder why that is.
Maybe he's confused as to how it works.
I don't know. That's just really interesting. He's got one cord popped way out on the side. I feel like that would be uncomfortable, but I don't normally remark about stuff like that, but that's interesting. Anyways, guys, this is a best of 3. We're just here in day 2, Group B. We're going to start this out on New Repugnancy and then Kairos Junction and Cyberforce. If we do go to game number 3, the winner goes to the winner's match, the losers, yada, 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 yada. You guys know how it is. And our game is now loading up. So, dude, tell your friends to join us. GSL CODES is finally back. And we got many, many more games all compacted here throughout this year, 2019. So tell your friends to join us.
게임이 시작됩니다. 뉴 리파그넌시 게임 준비 완료.
3795. Oh my God, that's my pin number.
클래식.
It's eerie without the game music.
I know. I feel like we're about to have a jump scare here.
Yeah.
사이스톤 게임.
Oh, it's true. It's true. Oh, it's a bunch of Zerglings. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. So, here we are. New Repugnancy. Obviously, Classic, a big favorite to come out of this group. The 2 Protosses, I think, pretty overwhelming favorites, but you can't underestimate True. He is definitely a player that can bring the upsets. When he's playing his best, it is quite scary indeed.
Okay, now we got in-game music coming back here.
There we go.
We had it for a second. Sicko mode. It's funny the difference it makes if you have no sound or like no music and then a little bit of music. What a difference that'll actually make.
All the difference. You got to have a little bit of background, for sure. It's like, it's not exactly white noise, is it? But I think about white noise.
It kind of adds to the mood, I guess you could say.
So we use white noise.
Whoa, it's going through the. Oh, I like that.
Damn.
Damn.
If this was KSL, that guy would win a keyboard.
That's right.
All right. So the proxy pylon going down, no doubt, for a Stargate. Gonna try to get that Oracle in there right away. Some drone kills. More than 2 is what he's looking for.
Okay. And there's that Stargate now, down here in the bottom right side of the map. Now, although generally speaking proxies are considered pretty sneaky, this is not that uncommon at all in this matchup.
No, definitely see it.
I think our levels of, I guess, excitement go down, you know, as months pass with specifically this type of proxied Stargate. It's really just, you know, it creates a little bit more ambiguity. If they do try to scout you and come in there, unless they're really on point and say, wait a minute, there's a missing pylon here. You have to have pretty good scouting to scout every location a pylon could be in the main base. And then it allows you to get down to that location a little bit more quickly.
Yeah, and that's kind of the main part of it, is that your Oracle gets there before a standard Spore Crawler timing. So
right.
When a normal Oracle coming from the main base, every Pro Zerg should have spores up as it gets there. And with this, I mean, if it's not up, that will go from 2 drone kills, which is the complete norm from an in-base Oracle. You know, you tank a few shots, get a couple drones. You can get 5 drone kills off this without too much problem. They don't sniff its coming, Tasis. Here it comes.
All right, that Oracle is headed out now. There is a second Oracle on the way, although he's not going to bank that. As Arctos said, he wants to get there before there's any spores. There's one Adept over here at the third base doing a little bit of damage to draw that screen away and try to get any drone kills that he can get.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this. This is sick.
Whoa, misclick there. Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got a little ahead of himself there.
Wow.
In fact,
he's done enough shots to get 5 drones right now, and he's gotten 3.
Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be 5 kills so far, now 6. But it could have been 8.
It could have been, yeah, I think it could have been 8. I think that's exactly what it could have been.
So basically he was trying to shift the laser from the Oracle over to the next location to get the next drone, and he kind of got ahead of himself here. Now let's see how much damage the second Oracle can do. This one might just get shot down. Okay, he's once again misclicking with that.
Yeah.
Kind of sad to see Classic getting a little rusty there. With both Oracles, he's sort of hiccuped on switching the shots, and now he's going to throw down a bunch more gateways. Now look, he's still killed a lot of drones, you know, at the end of the day.
Yeah. I want to make a joke about him being the oldest player in GSL, but I'm actually not certain of that now that MC and Fantasy are back. But
oh yeah, I think it might be Fantasy. Is it Fantasy the oldest now?
It's possible. Fantasy,
so.
MC, and Classic are the only 3 options. I'm actually not sure. I should check that though. Last season it was Classic that was the oldest player in the tournament. But anyways, all that aside, looks pretty normal from here. Looks like an Archon drop will be coming up. A few Adepts out there. Stalker, Azella. He's going to be able to secure his third base rather easily from here. Getting charged, his Prism, and those additional gates finishing up.
It should be noted this is different from the Archon drops we've seen with DTs. The whole nature of this build is a little bit different, although some of the themes are the same here. You're trying to come out and do a little bit of damage, control the Zerg without losing anything critical. Now, we've already seen one Oracle taken out, which is kind of bad. You really can't, well, I mean, you can, it's not the end of the world, but it is definitely much better if you can keep the Oracles alive. You can use that to tag the core part of the Zerg's army and monitor where exactly they're going, as well as try to poke in there and harass or scout anything hidden, tech-wise or expansion-wise. Now, these Archons are being made. They're just down below. They're adjacent to the main base of the Zerg. They're going to come in here, try to get some kills off. We'll have to see how much damage they actually do. But while this is happening, True is making a beeline with Roaches and Queens across the map. When you see this many Queens, it signals it's a very specific timing attack.
Yeah, this is very all-in. And just getting in here, not seeing any layer, not seeing any defense of any sort, he knows what it is. So we should see a recall on this.
Yeah.
Even warping those units, I actually think is something you shouldn't be doing. I think, like, when you get in there and there's literally nothing, kill a few drones, recall all your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that.
This is a little bit annoying when the harass starts up before the timing attack can really get in here and do any damage. Keep in mind the Cybernetics core is going to be taken out here. More pylons come in here to try to sandbag the progress of this rush. Yeah, and this is going to unpower that Robo. Keep in mind the Immortals are really key to trying to hold off an attack like this.
Yeah, the Immortal... The Robo, rather, getting unpowered, I think, is actually the biggest thing that has happened here thus far. So that is a big, big issue because the Immortal is so important. He doesn't have a Prism at home to micro with either. And with this many Queens here, True might actually be able to snap a victory out of the jaws of defeat. Like, it's It's real right now.
He's trying to get enough damage to take out the main, maybe before the recall back here.
Yeah.
This is a little bit difficult to gauge how this is going to go. I feel like Classic needs to get something back at home because the damage output from this many Roaches and Ravagers comboed with the Queens is going to be a lot higher than these Zealots slowly chipping away at these buildings, especially when you see the True can basically hunker down over at the third base with those Spine Crawlers.
Well, I feel like he should be drilling a part of these probes to get better surface area, but overall, it's a lot of units that he's bringing in here. We heard a couple feedbacks there on those Queens as well, which is a good idea. And the Archon's now just finally coming back.
Okay, the Archon's coming back, but is he really going to be able to juggle this enough? With the Warp Prism that low, if any targeting hits that, then the Archons are just planted here on the ground. Looks like there were enough Zerglings made here. This game should basically be over, as there's just really not enough to defend as far as I can tell here, especially with this wave of Zerglings coming in like this.
Yeah, I mean, a good attack here from True, no doubt about that. It looks like this Prism should be going down. Oh my god, yeah, finally gets targeted. Almost 0 left, whereas True does have a fully mining base at home with a bunch of spines, making some Zerglings, so he's remade that spawning pool as well.
So these Lings are doing a lot of damage. There's not a lot of minerals backed up here for Classic, so what you see is what you get. Some Adepts are coming down here, but I don't think there's enough that you can really shade around this. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, this really looks like a 100% win for True.
Yeah,
I can't even fathom him losing this game.
I mean, some of the units are kind of isolated from each other. All of his tech was destroyed in the main, so that's it. GG. True takes game number 1. He had actually a little smirk on his face when he won that.
Yeah, he should. He lost so many drones. Like, Classic's opening was fantastic, but I think that when you get into the main base, right, you have 2 Archons, you get in there, there's no Queen.
Right.
Okay, only drones.
Right.
There's no lair. I mean, the lair could be somewhere else, but there's not a Roach there waiting. There's nothing. When someone opens Oracle Tasteless, like 90% of the time an Archon drop is coming. So if there's nothing there, there's a reason for that. The fact that he warped in the 4 Zealots, I think, was the first big mistake. I'm okay warping in some Zealots and bringing the Archons home right away, or just having the Archons and warping in reinforcements at home, whether those be Sentries or Zealots or whatever the hell. But I mean, you're basically getting all in. You've already done insane damage. To commit more units to that side of the map rather than to your own defense, to not have a Prism at home to juggle the Immortal, that's the most important unit in this rush. You can juggle an Immortal almost infinitely against this type of push.
Yeah, it's very true. You need that Warp Prism there to help out.
Yeah.
It was a funny situation because you could see that there was so much damage being done to the main, and it was a gamble of, okay, should I keep trying to chip away at this? Can I sandbag the rush enough to hold this off before I go back home and try to defend? And it was a miscalculation for sure. Also, it seems like a lot of Lings are made right before the spawning pool is destroyed.
Yeah.
And I think Classic miscalculated how much would be remaining over in that attack. Because when the rest of those Lings came out there was no way to defend the main. The Archons that were warping in were killed off. The Probes had nowhere to hide or defend themselves. You had a Warp Prism going back across the map, already suffering a lot of damage. No real way to continue to juggle those Archons when the Warp Prism's, like half health and no shields?
Yeah, and really, again, like the Archons, they have such short range. The juggling function is really poor compared to if you have that Prism back with the Immortal. And then, of course, his Robo got unpowered because only 1 pylon. The fateful Artosis pylon powering it, taken out Tasteless. It needed a Tasteless backup pylon.
I actually thought the pylon to the upper right was maybe still powering it. I didn't want to say until it actually went out because I don't want to look dumb.
Yeah.
But turns out I was right all along. All right, game 2's ready. Let's go. Classic versus True.
Intermission. 게임이 시작됩니다. 카이로스 정션. 게임 준비 완료. 클래시. 사이스톤 게이밍. 트루.
Yeah, so nice pickup there from True. Definitely a very dangerous Zerg player. If you don't play correctly against him, you are going to be in for a hurt.
You're in Trouble Town. Well, let's see if this game goes a little bit better here for Classic. That was definitely a one-of-a-kind game. where the harass got in there, the drop got in there and started doing a lot of damage right away. And then you saw...
Oh my god, it's Penguin.
and then you saw the rush was starting to happen, and instead of Classic going back home immediately, he thought, okay, I've already killed a lot of drones, not just with the Oracle attack, but with this harass that's happening now, and all that tech was killed off.
Yeah.
And you know, it's always really difficult to have the right math there to have a good idea of what's remaining for what they're attacking with and what you can make to hold this off. But clearly it wasn't enough. And
yeah.
Classic did not play that. By the way, Classic did look a little bit rusty overall in that game. There were a lot of misclicks with the Oracle, which he normally never does.
Yeah.
And some shoddy decision-making there when it was most important at the end.
Yeah, and I mean, that was a hard choice as well, right? Because you do need to do damage. You have to cancel your third. Your natural's going to take a bunch of damage. So I understand that there's some difficulties there, but there were two different possibilities at times to bring back his Warp Prism. One was at the beginning of the attack, and the other would be before he engaged with Probe Zealot. He brought it back towards the end of that engagement. If that had been there at the beginning of the engagement, this might have gone completely differently. But it was definitely a little bit late. So I think he's going to fix those things. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays fairly similarly to game number 1, you know, just Oracle into Archon drop, because overall it's kind of the most robust opener in PvZ. So I think it's absolutely not a bad call. It's just, you know, play it a little bit safer, I guess. A little bit better decision making.
So we'll see this Shade pop in and out here, trying to get a read on any tech that this Adept can find. So far, True seems to be playing a pretty ordinary opening here. Same thing with Classic. We do have the Phoenix on the way now. We'll probably see that continue to increment out. Oracle now behind that.
Yeah, I don't mind seeing that Phoenix first in this position, right? Like, True is going to be more on top of Oracle defense. So if you're really only going to get 2 drones no matter what, making it in your main base, may as well get the Phoenix first, push the Overlords out.
Yeah, that first Overlord does go down here.
That was a drop falling up, almost certainly.
It's just a very good opener, especially if you're good at multitasking, which these guys obviously are.
Actually, there's a chance here that this is actually a Glaives build as well, but...
Well, let's see. Did he take all the other gases? How much is he actually mining?
He did take them, but he's going 3 gates right away.
The thing is, you don't have to use them. You can take them just so that they might look at it and then discount the attack coming in. Here comes a Robo now as well, which means it still could be a Glaives timing as well.
Yeah, no, it could be either one. Yeah, let's...
You know, honestly, that Glaives build is so sick. Some of these Glaives timings. The Zerg's a few seconds off from actually spotting it, and the game landslides so fast.
Well, quite a few Adepts being made, so I think we are going to see a bit of pressure from that, but it might just be the Archon play as well. Let's see. We actually don't see a Templar Archives. Okay, there is the Glaives. I thought it might be.
One thing about this is it's not like there's just one build. There's a lot of different ways you can go about doing this with how much you want to actually lean into them with it. Keep in mind, he's showing some of these Adepts here. Actually, there's nothing really to defend over here. Yeah, this is actually a great play.
A few Roaches coming out. He's going to have to go into lots of Immortals from here. I feel like he started the Glaives just slightly early.
Keep in mind, there's 30 Lings now being made. The True is definitely going to be ready for a fight.
Yeah, he's not screwing around, is he?
Yeah. This is actually pretty impressive here from True. Now, a lot of times you're doing certain attacks like this where you're mustering a lot of gateways and you're trying to get enough of an army. In fact, he's just going to go for his own timing. So this is a game where they're both basically going for timing attacks against each other.
Well, he sees exactly what it is. The fact that he's making Immortals already, he's getting Glaives and 6 gates.
Yeah, no need for a War Prism right now. All you have to do is defend this.
If you're going to win this, I think it's, I mean, it's not an impossible thing, but I think you really need to rely upon Ravagers. Because behind the wall, with Immortals, with a few flying units, with Glaive Adepts, with 6 gates, with, you know, sentries and all this, Roach Ling isn't going to do anything. You're going to have to rely on continual abuse of damage like the Ravager.
So he needs to wait for these very slow Queens to get up here, close to where the Ravagers are. The Ravagers are going to use the projectiles here to unpower these gateways. I believe that's the only pylon that powers any of these structures up here in the front.
Well, he is building a...
Whoa!
Oh, that's really good. Yeah, picking off any Ravagers right now is super, super important.
Yeah,
Obviously
way less corrosive vials you can fire out there.
Not a lot of drones behind this, and you're right. A couple gates get unpowered right there. He did build a backup pylon for the Robo this game, though. He's not going to let that happen again. I love it! Oh, I love it! Even the one that started, there was another vial in the air that got rid of it.
Some questionable force fields there. I don't know how many more he's actually got left over here on these sentries, but keep in mind when these structures get taken out,
good
I almost think it would have been better for him to get the core here. Right in the front and just start to deny tech options.
Not a bad,
you know, over the gateway, really.
I feel like against this type of comp anyways, you probably want to start charge if you have the 100. Yeah, okay,
he's already doing that.
Charge, especially if they're going to take out your cyber core.
We don't get to see this every day, but he's actually ditching the rush. So the Queens actually have to make the longest trek back across the map.
Oh my God!
Whoa! That is about the most unfortunate play.
Anyone that missed that, he flew his prism into Biles coming down, so he now does not have a warp prism that he should have had. He has eaten a lot of Biles tasteless.
Yeah, he's actually in quite a bit. The Queens are trying to get back. Now, I'm not surprised these Queens didn't get back home. Retreating Queens are possibly the most likely thing to die in the entire game if they're not on creep. So he takes those out. I don't know if Classic can try to seesaw this back over in his favor. He doesn't have the Warp Prism with him right now. There's one that's about to finish and get across the map here, but no reinforcements just yet. But then again, True really did invest a lot into that rush and to try to come back home. This is not the ideal defense to have.
No, like, Classic's army is a little bit scary for sure, but it's not like an army that gets better and better over time. Adepts lose power against Zerg over the long term of the game. Like, yeah, sure, he's getting into charge. His Temple Archive is just about to finish. This is a late third, though, and it's going to be even later because it's going to be forced to cancel. So this is a great move from True.
This is really True doing what he does
fantastic.
best. He's very good at moving around on the map and hitting these different locations.
Yeah.
So he denies that. That's actually one of the bigger things that's happened now in this game because Protoss really did need that third up here.
That was a really good move, though.
This really actually forces Classic to just stay back with his main army and try to defend the third, unless he really tries to go in and do a ton of damage. He's doing some harasser with these Adepts. And I'll tell you what, killing this many drones is actually really nice. He's killed almost 20 workers here.
Yeah, this is pretty awesome play from Classic, and he needs something like this too because that canceled third, like the third was already late, and then to get it canceled when it's 3/4 of the way done is kind of a brutal result. So. But Classic is getting into the right set of units here, right? He has charge, he's getting a second Robo, he has the Templar Archives. That's like good enough to get you into the late game, right? That counters everything until Broodlords, basically.
Yeah, so far, so good, man. I really like how True's handled this. Oh, no way. Is there really nothing over here? He should just go right on the Nexus.
Yeah.
Like, go, get the Nexus.
He had right-click on the Nexus a lot quicker there.
I don't know if he's going to get it now.
Yeah.
I think in some sense he thought for sure there was an army just out of sight.
Yeah, I think you're right. But he drew the army down there, so now he actually gets a sick position at the top of this ramp.
He's going to get the snipe, this Immortal, and the rest of this army is going to be bottlenecked on the low ground. This is so good. With the number of Ravagers he has, he can keep corrosive violating this for days.
Send out 2-3 vials at a time. It's so hard to come up that ramp. Look at that.
Dude, this is not the game I thought I was going to see tonight with these two.
No.
I really thought that it was going to be close and Classic was going to dominate. Right now, True looks like a beast. Look at this. He's already got Roaches going into 2 different key locations, one in the main and one in the natural. Some nice side storms, but really damage is already being dealt elsewhere.
Yeah, there's units in the main base of Classic here as well.
Can't quite see if there's more. I think there's actually more Lings being headed or sent down to that third base.
Probably, you're right about that. And I mean, he did some decent economic damage during this. There's some more attacks into that third. The probe count is falling a bit. So even though Classic got himself up to a pretty decent army, True has actually outmaneuvered him. I tell you, I'm getting chills. This is why I love the beginning of the year for GSL, because we have that kind of like blank period where we don't see like the really high-end stuff like GSL or BlizzCon.
Yeah.
And then someone like True can come in and we're like kind of, ascribing him his traits of the previous season, the previous year, the way he was playing. And then you look at this and the first game he got kind of behind and Classic made a mistake, but in this game, without any question, he outmaneuvered Classic.
Yeah, he did beautifully here. I actually think there's really no way that Classic could come back into this game. True is in such good shape here. Classic won on every front. I don't even think there's any need to try to attack out of this. I think you keep making Ling Roach Ravager He's got a Spire here as well, but I think with what he's got, you can kind of smother the Protoss.
You might be right about that. Yeah, I think he's a little bit afraid of Mass Immortal, which is probably what most Protoss would do here, right? Psystorm Immortal and just be like, I hope that these units are strong enough to win. But the fact that he's giving himself that other option for a base trade in the Spire, I tell you, just overall, I really like this game for True. I really like how it's played. The first one, I think that was based on Classic making mistakes. Here, I think that True really proved himself, though.
I love the counterattack here, by the way, from True.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, if Classic tries to come out of the map, this many Zerg units is going to do damage way faster than what Protoss has. I don't think there's anything even hidden base-wise on the map here for Protoss, right? Oh, I'm sorry, there's some probes moving out.
Well, he's only got, like, how many minerals? 500. Okay, so he's got enough to make some buildings. This is turning into a True base trade. What does True have out on the map for drones? Oh, he did it too. These guys know what they're doing, man. Every now and then you'll watch a base trade and one guy will forget to send out his units, his workers. Not this game, though.
So keep in mind, there's more minerals here for True. You could get at least 2 more hatcheries.
Yeah.
That last Nexus is being made. Now, it's important to know, you know, Nexuses and hatcheries are, if you don't have them, then everything on the mini-map is revealed as far as building location. But I feel like with Ling's speed, he should be able to fork out in both different directions. I mean, it's basically 2 directions you have to go to try to figure out where this is.
Yeah.
And Zerg's actually got hatches. 1 hatch, by the way. I think it would actually really help Zerg out to make a hatch somewhere where there aren't any minerals at this moment. Like the corner of the once was main here for Classic.
I think actually Classic has to play the defensive, doesn't he? Like, I don't think he can actually move around the map at all. I think he has to keep his units clumped because...
You think he's got to stay back and start mining?
Yeah, it feels that way to me. Maybe the Prism can fly around a little bit, but...
Yeah, I would say... Okay, he's found the 1 hatch. Now there's another hatch. The other hatch is being made, or one of the possible other hatches, because there's 500 minerals left here. 1 hatchery is being made right there, next to this one. Yeah, next to this Nexus. Okay, hold on. I think Classic actually still has a shot here.
Yeah, I think he does have a shot.
I feel like he should have, True should have sent his Lings out immediately once he knew this was a base trade and tried to find other Nexuses. The Roaches and the Ravagers are slow enough, and they're fine against buildings.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Okay, so this Phoenix is actually really, really useful. Imagine if he saw that Oracle, the game would be over. How funny is that?
Oh, yeah.
The Oracle would just end it. Like, it's like, okay, you have to come attack me right now because I'm going to kill you otherwise.
So he's canceled that hatchery.
Yeah.
It looks like he wants to plant this somewhere else. Now, there's really no way to directly deal with the Warp Prism.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what is the Protoss army looking like back at home? I know we did.
Okay, so it's mostly High Templars. There's like 6 High Templars, I believe. There might be a couple Immortals plus the ones in the Prism, a couple Archons, and a few Zealots. Something like that. It's not really that big, but it's super technical. Oh, we see it right there in the top left.
Oh, duh.
So 3 Archons.
Sorry, guys, it's been months.
Yeah.
Good to be back. We're still rusty. So,
like, isn't that the production tab? Where's all his buildings?
Yeah, he can't attack into that.
This is crazy, though.
Okay, so then the game goes on. Now, this Immortal Harass might be too difficult to deal with.
It is certainly hard. He's got to do something like get some Queens out to push it back. So yeah, that Spire never finished, huh? Even a Mutalisk right here would be big. Oh, very red Immortal.
Oh gosh, these buildings were never picked off. That's actually a pretty big deal.
Hey, this is something I've been saying since Wings of Liberty. There isn't a Zerg in the world that drops creep with his Overlords. And I don't know why. I know that it's kind of loud and annoying. That's the only thing I could ever think why people wouldn't drop creep with Overlords.
Okay, so he's come out here to check. Problem is defensive storms, especially when there's 5 Templar here in 2 bottleneck locations. Very hard to actually get in there and do the damage you need to do.
Yeah. Look how many storms he has. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. Oh, no. There's not actually that many drones. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's like all of his workers. Drew has 1 worker right now.
And he's only got 100 minerals, so this is serious. Like, with the Hardened Shield, you can drop off and kill drones. It's going to start killing some Overlords. Ooh. You can't even take more drones, is what that means.
I think Classics actually won this game.
I think you're right. I think that the Prism is actually enough.
When you're this low on minerals on both sides.
1 or 2 High Templars just died of Vials.
Can he try to dive in here? Can he try to dive in here and get the Nexus?
Yeah, I don't think he has the DPS.
No, he doesn't. There's still enough money for a new Nexus anyways.
Oh, jeez, you're right.
Huh. Okay, so Classic's going to move out here. He seems like he wants to try to take out some of these positions.
I love
the thing is, if he goes too far out, you know, True can try to dive in here. Problem is Crosibiles are so awful in these situations.
Yeah, when
They're
all
very-
you're doing is microing.
Unlike Warp Prisms, which are amazing. Okay, so he's won that fight. It's just these Ravagers up here. When you have just Ravagers, generally it means you're not doing that well. You need something else there to try to soak up damage. Still 8 workers to 1.
Wow. What a comeback for Classic in this situation. Good stuff.
He's going to pick up these Archons and try to go across the map. We've got more pylons and gateways coming down. You really don't need anything too sophisticated at this point in time.
This is all it'll do.
Yeah, they're completely fine. So an Immortal and an Archon against, right now, 4 workers. Now, 1 worker's in the far left base. There's 3 more, I believe, in the bottom center, the 6 o'clock location.
I don't know that he even knows about that base.
I don't think he does, but I don't think it's going to be very difficult to have your army come down here and take out this space either.
No. It was like 116 supply against 66, if I recall correctly. Now it's 42 against 26. So that's quite a turn of the tide.
It doesn't seem like there's any way to bum rush this space over here for Protoss either.
No, absolutely.
Like True would, Classic would shut that down so easily. In fact, that's probably what Classic would really want to have happen here.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I think he's just waiting for True to basically get out of the game. There's not really any recovery. Okay, it looks like we're gonna add some.
GG.
Yeah. Okay, so the Classic ends up winning, but I actually think that overall True outplayed him in that game.
I agree.
You agree with me on that, but
no, I do. I think the big mistake by True there, honestly, was that once he realized he's in a base trade, I think you need to send your Lings out everywhere and start to find the possible Nexus locations.
Like, you don't mind about the reduced DPS on the Protoss buildings.
No, you don't care about that.
Like finding pros. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
I think that's kind of fair what you're saying. I think the hardest situations in which to criticize people are base trades, but I think that as we see more and more of them over time, because each one is so significantly different from the last one, there are some general rules. Like we saw them both do the general rule, get your workers out immediately, right? Because you need to be able to build buildings. How many times do we see people not do that after 8 years of StarCraft 2? It's very obvious you have to do that. So maybe that's one of the next steps where, like, if you're doing a base trade, also, they did send out workers, so go find where those workers went so that you can kind of have that leg up.
So we're going to go to map number 3. It'll be on Cyber Forest. Again, Classic versus True. Our first best of 3 here in Group B. True looking a lot better than I think most people were expecting here.
Sure.
Let's see if he can pull it off here in Game 3.
마운틴 듀 GSL 시즌 1 리제너레이션 게임이 시작됩니다. 사이버 포레스트 게임 준비 완료.
Cyber Forest.
클래시.
That's when we're really going to know humanity's in the gutter, is when we have cyber forests.
사이스톤 게이밍 트루.
This environment doesn't seem as digital as I would think it would be.
What,
based
Cyber
off
Forest?
the name, yeah. The trees look pretty real.
Well, yeah, I mean, there should be real trees there, but there's also like a lot of like mechanical, like. It reminds me of that Time Machine movie.
Which one?
I forget what it's called. I think it was called The Time Machine.
Back to the Future.
No, Back to the Future taste. Look, yeah, Back to the Future 3.
Terminator.
That's what it reminds me of. Is
Yeah.
Back to the Future 3.
I always forget the name Terminator. I just call it Time Travel Movie. It's much easier to remember. It's much more catchy. So I am super sick today, guys.
You're always super sick.
No, I seriously am like, I almost didn't come in today.
I know.
And then I had to
I'm
will it
surprised
out.
you came in.
Yeah. Well, this cold medicine's kicking in now. Now I'm feeling pretty good.
What are you sick with?
I've got like a really bad headache. My sinuses are just leaking. Kind of drying up now because of that medicine.
Oh, is it like, it might just be like a sinus infection or something like that?
Kind of a sore throat, a bad cough.
Oh, okay. Doesn't sound too fun.
I'm losing my vision. You know,
It's called getting older, Tasteless.
my knees are swollen. And no, I got something, but now that this cold medicine's kicking in, I'm like, oh, all right. My powers are going to be back temporarily.
Sure. Well, I hope that you feel better each coming day because we have so much.
Either that or this is going to get. I'm going to get sicker and sicker because I'm coming into work.
I know.
It's one of those two things.
You, we have like almost nonstop work for a month from here. It's just crazy amounts.
By the third best of 3, they have to bring an ambulance here and take me home.
Yeah.
Like, sorry guys, I made the wrong choice. No, I think I'll be okay though for this.
Okay.
So we've got a Stargate once more. This time not proxied on the map.
Yeah. You know, the opening builds for PvZ haven't really changed with the new patch, I would say. It's still pretty much, you know, the good old standards. Like, sure, you'll see the DT Archon drop occasionally, or like some crazy all-in and just charge a lot all-in or something. I don't think we're going to see much of that anymore. But, you know, just Oracle into Archon drop is pretty safe, gets you in all your tech. If you think you're a better player than your opponent, it's a damn good build to do. Glaive's build that we saw as well, absolutely not a bad build by any means. Good to mix in.
Funny that in the last game they were both going for timings, which sometimes happens. If you end up in that position, generally the guy that backs off and tries to hold it, you know, he gets that defender's advantage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
It kind of looks like he's going to do a little bit of a depth pressure here. Like, we see 2 more gates coming up. We don't see a Twilight as of yet, but generally when you get your gates this early, you're definitely going to be making units out of it. There's the Twilight. And, I mean, he did decent damage with those Adepts last time. And he held the attack of his opponent pretty well. Now look at that. We're seeing the Evolution Chamber. I think we're going to see a quick +1, yeah?
Yep, there it is.
Oh, that's interesting. So sometimes this lines up with a big plume of Lings to try to like deny the third, but I feel like that +1 is slightly late for that. This is fine against like timing push type stuff though. You get that +1 before they're really hitting hard with it, and
well, here's that Glaives, so this could be pretty handy. The Phoenix and the Oracle are going to come in here. 1 pickup on that Queen to immobilize it. And now this Oracle's going to get some good damage. And I got to say, Classic doing a better job with a targeted shot this time around with the Oracle. Oh!
When you lose the Oracle, that's what's really, really brutal. Especially when your opponent's going +1 on the Lings. Like
the Oracle is really used to try to control them in that moment, too. But yeah, as you were saying, the Oracle is kind of the counter to the Lings when they have that +1. The Oracle will still kill them off so quickly in the fight, so to lose that is huge.
Since he's going for Glaives, I mean, that definitely kind of helps out as well, but a lot of times the Oracle is used to secure the third base so that Lings can't just run you over. But yeah, losing that, I feel like without a doubt, as this +1 finishes, we're going to see a good amount of Lings fielded. Now, this is a pretty powerful attack, it looks like, that Classic's going for.
Yeah, even without the Oracle, this could do a lot of damage. These Adepts are going to shade forward here. It looks like they will be able to intercept some of these Lings over here.
He's only showing a few of them.
This is really smart. One left behind. The one Adept that slept in. He'll be back there to try to clog the entrance, although I think these Lings might still be able to get in. We'll get a shot of this in a second. Okay, so he had another warp in there. Meanwhile, great targeting on those Queens.
Doing a great job indeed. All right, big shade coming up here. He is building some spines. 1 does get taken out right there. Roachhorn's on the way.
This is one of those Adept attacks where the Zerg actually can't deal with it. It's much less a game of cat and mouse here with the Roaches and the Adepts. Instead, there's so much damage being done here. Classic just murdering True right now.
This is a
murder, I tell you.
It's murder tasteless.
Dial M for
what
murder.
What type of crime would this be?
Murder in the 1st degree.
Yeah. Definitely premeditated this build.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of brutal what we're watching here.
So far, 16 drones have been killed. I don't think that there's going to be an easy cleanup yet here. As these Queens and Lings and Roaches are coming up. Still able to get this. I don't believe he's going to be able to get the main hatch. In fact, he's going to instead try to come up here and get the spine, so there's more availability for Harass later on in the main base. Now, is he just doing a counterattack here?
May as well. I mean, there's nothing going his way right now. Jeez, gonna kill a spawning pool.
Well, this is actually pretty horrible when you consider that there was +1 attack upgraded. Assuming he does get this, I think he can. The way those Adepts are wedged in between the minerals and the hatch, there's no easy surround there. So he has 12 more Lings coming out. That's all he's gonna get, and a recall.
Oh, that's funny.
So good. Well, 3 more gates and Immortal coming.
Look, I think that True definitely could have won this on 2-0, but unfortunately this game is looking about it's about the
Is he
furthest
pulling
thing
his
from winnable.
drones?
You may as well.
Yeah, why
right?
not?
Why not? There's no possible way of coming back otherwise.
GG. Okay.
Yeah.
Insta-tap when he sees the tech that already has been set up.
Yeah.
So Classic does win this, although it was a pretty bumpy series, I gotta say. Classic pulled it together. True's not out of this yet, though.
Yeah. I guess we'll see how True does that loser match. I feel bad for him, though, because I felt like Game 2 was really, really well done.
Yeah, you know, Classic is so experienced with games like that, where it's coming down to the wire. Every game is completely different. I think True could have won Game 2, you're right, but Classic clutched it. And unfortunately, True he was unable to pull anything off in that last game. That adept timing attack was too good. Coming up next, we've got Losira versus Trap for a second match in Group B here in today's GSL Codas. We'll be right back. Do not go away.